morning, and welcome to another thrilling season of the Carbondale Dispatch. As I do with most of my first videos of the season, I start off with my New Year's resolutions. I'll look back at what I predicted or resolved to do in 2024, and then what I hope to do in 2025. So this is a real edge of the seat video, so you might want to sit down, get a hot drink, and make yourself comfortable. Let's get started. I had 3 main resolutions for 2024, and I accomplished 2 of them. And I'm going to discuss them one at a time. First, my resolution was to visit places I had never been before. And I accomplished that. When I first started, though, I had a list of 6 cities that I was going to visit and ended up only visiting 2 of those. You can see on the list over here of the cities that I had originally planned to visit before I left the country. Only 2 of those did I actually make it to. Number 1 was Siem Reap in Cambodia, and the other one was Kathmandu in Nepal. The other cities will have to wait for another time. I had been to Vientiane in Laos many years ago, so I'm not going to check that one off. The goal was to visit that one this year, and I didn't do that. But I did accomplish that resolution. In addition to the 2 cities on that list, I also visited these other cities. So you can check the list out here. So I'm going to check that one off. Visit places that I have never been before. Check. My second goal was to climb Mount Kinabalu, which is the highest peak in Southeast Asia. It is 4,100 meters tall. I was planning on doing that with Lady Aisha and probably some other people also. But the timing, the cost, and the scheduling of reservations and things got in the way. So I didn't accomplish that. That's still on the list for a future trip. Climbing Mount Kinabalu. It's approximately a 2-day climb. You start the first day and you climb up to about, I think it's 3,500 meters. I'm not really sure about that. And you stay overnight they have these huts and camp, like a campground. And then early in the morning, you make the final climb to the summit, the final 700 or 800 meters to the top. And then once you get there, you're there for like maybe a half an hour. Then you head down. You can get down to the bottom of the mountain all in one day, but they space it out into a 2-day climb. Anyway, I didn't do that. But what we did instead, and you probably have already seen that video, is that we rode the Malaysian jungle train from Kuala Lumpur to Kota Bharu. Kuala Lumpur is in the center of the country on the west coast of Malaysia, and Kota Bharu is in the north near the Thai border on the east coast. That was a 15-hour train ride. Now, I'm not saying that replaces my Mount Kinabalu climb. It doesn't. But I did find something else to do in that same time frame. So climbing Mount Kinabalu, no, I didn't make that goal. I don't know if you can tell, but it seems to be snowing a lot harder than it was when I left the house. We're not supposed to get any snow today. Instead, we're supposed to get a lot of wind. 40 to 60 kilometer an hour winds. But it's not really that windy yet, but it is snowing. Anyway, resolution number 3 was to achieve the digital singularity. Now some of you, well, let's face it, most of you watching this video will have no idea what I mean when I say digital singularity. There is a video that I made about that in 2022, I think it was. And I was planning on making a video with my progress for that a long time ago. But as I found out, Getting to what I call the digital singularity took a lot longer than I thought it would. And I'm going to check that off. I did achieve the digital singularity just recently, as a matter of fact, early in December of 2024. And I'll be making a video about what that means in another couple of weeks. It's very interesting. It's how you organize yourself digitally, how you can make your management and project achievement, your goal setting, your things to do, all of that stuff, if you watch YouTube videos, is far too complicated. I tried to simplify it, and I'm going to be making a video about that in a couple of weeks, so you might want to watch for that one. So, achieving the digital singularity, check. So out of my 3 resolutions for 2024, I accomplished 2 of them. I'm very pleased with myself. Well, it seems that the predicted wind has finally showed up, and I'm walking into a headwind right now, so it's kind of uncomfortable. So I think I'm going to go back to the studio. But before you go away, remember, my resolutions for 2025 are coming up, so stay tuned. It's been over a week since I started recording this video, and the reason for the delay in finishing it is because for the last 4 days, almost last 4 days, it's been ridiculously cold. To go outside over the last 4 days would be remarkably uncomfortable. So I decided not to finish this video, because if you did go outside minus 15, minus 18 degrees, then you had to sort of keep your hands in your pockets. There's no way I could operate a camera. All the high-tech equipment that goes into producing the International Big Shot requires at least a little bit of temperature before you can actually make something productive. Okay, so what are my resolutions for 2025? Well, let me start off by saying that I think the word resolutions is a bad word for this kind of video, because I'm old enough now, I just don't bother with resolutions anymore. I'd rather call them goals. I'm not really changing something as I'm trying to achieve something. So they're not really resolutions, they're goals. And one of my goals this year, especially in travel planning, is a train trip starting in Northern Europe and finishing in Istanbul. I've already started planning that, and one of the rules I'm using is that I can't be away from home for 8 straight months like I was last year. That trip was entirely too long, and when I make a video about the results of Le Tour 24, you'll understand why I think that way. There's a lot of stops that I can make in a train trip between Norway and Istanbul. And the way it looks now, I've got like 8 different cities that I'm making stops in, either by train, ferry, or bus. So I think I'm going to have to pare that down so that I get a reasonable amount of time on the road, so to speak. So I'm glad I started now, because if I just did it like I did last year, sort of pantsing all the planning, then I think I would end up with a trip where I'm in places far too short of amount of time and on a trip that takes way too long. So hopefully I'll get down to something that is manageable and is fun at the same time. My second goal for 2025 is to increase the subscribers to my newsletter. Now, some of you that are watching this video have absolutely no interest whatsoever in my newsletter. It's about sport development. It doesn't have anything to do with travel, YouTube, or anything that I do on YouTube, but it is about sport development. But if you are interested in that, the subscription is absolutely free. You get an email every 2 weeks, and that's all it is. It's just an email. You can unsubscribe anytime you want. And to double the number of subscribers that I have right now, I'm going to need about 300 more subscribers, plus or minus 300. So that's my goal. My second goal for 2025 is to increase the number of subscribers I've got for the Sport Kid newsletter. There's information about that in the description underneath the video. This will highlight the difference for those of you who romanticize snowfall in the winter, of how pretty it is. It is pretty for a little while, and I emphasize the phrase little while, because soon after the snow falls, you have this. You can see on the road it's already melting. It's a dirty, muddy mess. But where I'm walking, it's nice right now, but not for long. Anyhow, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.